Hi everybody. What I want to do in this video tutorial is to create a web page from scratch so that you know how to create your initial web page, and then once you do your layout and design you can go ahead and copy that page over and over and over again. It's kind of like designing your own template. So this is sort of where, to give you an example, this is what we're aiming for. I have the address up on top, which is coming from the name of the page, the picture, some form of text underneath that'll talk about the house, and then some property details down below. So that's what I'm looking to design. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to the dashboard so you know where I'm starting, and I'm going to go down here to pages and I'm going to add a new page. Up here I'm going to put the title of the page, which is 1242 Terracina, T-E-R-R-A-C-I-N-A Drive. Okay, and then the next thing I need to do is remember what I said before. The picture, the width of the picture is really going to control how wide the entire posting is going to be. So I'm going to insert the photograph. So I'm going to go here to insert or add media. I'm going to select files from my desktop, and I've put my pictures up here that I'm working with. I'm going to click here and I'm going to click on the picture that I have, 1242 Terracina Drive. I'm going to click open. You're going to see a little bit of animation going on here, and then finally you see the picture. This gives you the file name, that it's a JPEG image, the date that I uploaded, and the size of the photograph, 640 by 400. Besides that, all I really need to do now is decide where I'm going to put this picture on the page and how it's going to behave with text. If I leave it the way it is right now, which is what I'm ultimately going to do, it's going to put the picture up on top, and any text that I'm going to have is going to go underneath it. The second button is that if I wanted the picture in the upper left hand corner and then the text would wrap around it. The third would be if I want the picture in the center and then the text would wrap around it. And the fourth would be where I'd have the picture on the right and the text would wrap around to the left. Again, I'm going to pick this one right here because I want to put all of my information below that photograph. I want the photograph to be as wide as possible without getting into the other part of the page. And I'm going to save all changes. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to insert into my post. And then this gives you what the picture is going to look like right here. Next thing that I'm going to do is I want to put a border around it. So to do that, I'm going to left click one time, then right click, then go to edit. And then what I'm going to do is go to advanced settings, and where the border is, I'm going to put 2 pixels wide. And again, what I'm going to do is just say update. It's a little bit hard to see the pixel here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to preview that, and you see what I have right now. I have a photograph. The photograph in here is 640 pixels wide. The height of it is 400 pixels high. You'll notice that I could only make it a little bit wider before I would start moving over into this area, and if you did, it'd start encroaching on that area, and so that's why we really want to be careful with the size. Whenever you're doing your photographs, you're taking them, you're editing, keep in mind that you want to eventually establish a standard that you're going to work to all the time, how wide your photographs are going to be. You really need to do that. That's very important because the width, in this case, the width of the photograph is going to determine how wide the posting is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go back to the page. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to all pages, and I'm going to go in and edit this 1242 Terracina Drive. And as you can see, we now have the picture here. Next thing that I want to do is I want to insert some text below it. So I'm going to click right here, and what I do is a little bit hard to see, but there's a cursor flashing right here. I'm going to press the enter key one time to go below it, and then I've already created some text, and I'm just going to go ahead and right click and copy it, and I am going to go back and I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste it. And now I want to go ahead and do a preview to see what it looks like, and you can now see what the text looks like. So now I've got that much of the post done. The next thing that I want to do at this point is to put a table underneath it so that I can put some information in there. So again, I'm going to go back here, and I am going to go down below where the picture is, or where the text is, right here, and I am going to put in something called property, P-R-O-P-E-R-T-Y, details, D-E-T-A-I-L-S. And I'm going to make this a little bit larger, so I'm going to go up. In fact, why don't we do this, because this is a good example of where I'd like to see the whole page. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to maximize the screen so I can see better with what I'm working on. And I'm going to change the size of the font. So the font type that I'm going to utilize is Arial. And the size that I'm going to just go in here and make sure I highlight it. So I'm going to go with Arial. And the size that I'm going to pick is something fairly large. I'm going to try something like maybe 22. So I have something here. Then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to press enter a couple times, and I'm going to go back to a more reasonable size font, something like maybe 16. Now at this point I need to put a table in here because I want to put that detailed property information in here. So in order to do that, I'm going to go up here to table, and then this is going to ask me how many rows and how many columns that I want. So I'm going to put in 5 rows and 2 columns, and I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And you're now going to see the table in here, and we're going to shut this grid off later on, but I want to show you how we can put something in here. So what I've done is that I've already put this information in here, so and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and right click and copy it, and then go back to WordPress where my table is, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste it. And when you do that, you'll notice that if you will, this column gets larger over here and this one gets smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to WordPad for a minute, or Notepad if you will, and I know what I'm going to have on the right side is this. So I'm just going to right click and copy it. I'm going to go ahead back in here, I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste it, and you'll see that now things sort of line up, because what I'm really doing when I paste it, it's telling it how wide to make the column. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the recording for a second here. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste everything else back in here again, and then I'll come back and carry on. So now you've seen that I've pasted all of this information in here. Again, I just went back to Word, copy, paste. The last thing that I want to do with this table is I want to click on the table, and I want to go to what we call table properties. And in this particular case, I do not want a border around the table. So I'm going to go ahead and select 0, and this is just going to keep things lined up, but I'll not be able to see the table. It'll be invisible. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my normal view that I have, and I'm going to do a preview. And when I do a preview, you're going to see that now I have the house, I have the text that I've written, and I have the property details below. And that's pretty simple. It's not very difficult to do. Once you've gone ahead and created something and taken the time and effort to do it, what I would recommend is that you go ahead and save it. And then in future tutorials, I'm going to show you how you can just copy the entire page and just go ahead and reuse that layout over and over again for new listings that you may have. And we'll move on to that in the next video tutorials.